Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Animation Analysis. As always, I'm Sam.
And good morning. My name is Immortal.
Alright, and we're going to be covering Deku vs. Asta. Now, okay, here's the interesting thing. When I first saw the first couple of times I saw this episode, I was like a fairly big fan of it, ranked it high. But before the recording session, we had like a day or two after the episode came out, I took the time to actually read Black Clover, and now my opinion on the fight has become a little more mixed, but we'll go into that a little more.
I still have yet to read Black Clover, so I can't really comment on that.
Alright, without further ado, let's begin. Oh yeah, I like how it's happening in a stadium like this, but anyway.
Sword that big? He's gotta be crazy strong. I'm gonna have to rely on more than just my power to take him down.
So starting off, Deku's sprite is...
I think it looks good.
I think it's fine. It's just kind of a couple of I guess there's a little bit of rigging issues, but we'll talk about rigging issues as we go on. But anyways. Okay.
The sprite looks really good.
Yeah, it does, but there's weird segmented issues. If you look at his right hand, it's not connected to his wrist properly.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I really don't like how the chest is actually segmented.
Really hard.
You can see it bending in on itself somewhat here and there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, anyways. Oh yeah, SpongeBob vs. Aquaman cameo in the upper side of the screen.
I didn't even notice that.
Okay, I will say I really like how the stadium changes to depending on the situation. I like this bringing up the buildings and stuff. Kind of reminds me of Ruby actually, back during the whole tournament arc in Volume 3.
Oh yeah. I haven't watched Ruby in ages.
Kind of looks like the Vital Festival, anyways. And I also really like how Asta just goes in, but Deku gets surprised by the buildings before changing it. Okay, now this is the first one of the minor issues. Them running here kind of looks a little slow and awkward. I mean, yeah, there's a slowdown shot later there, but them actually running here, it looks a little off.
Yeah, I can see where you're going from.
On the other hand, Deku's speed is portrayed fantastically here. Starting off, the repeat we get of him blasting off here, really neat, and it just boom.
Man, this guy can give even Luck a run for his money.
If you're wondering, basically Luck is a character in Black Clover that has speed-based abilities, and in the English dub he shares his voice actor with Deku.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a voice acting joke. Partly Black Clover reference, also a VA joke, which I love. But yeah.
I remember seeing someone someone just uploaded the preview on Twitter.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about those people maybe never, but yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we'll talk about them in 5 minutes. Don't worry, chat.
Don't worry. Also, I like this shading effect here, before, Asta predicting the movement or concentrating, and then the light focuses on him here before it fades away and he manages to land the hit.
At the same time, the light doesn't really affect Deku either.
Which kind of makes sense when, Oh yeah, perspective. I really like the perspective change here. The camera. It would have been much lamer if Asta was just running forward and we got the horizontal view of the camera. I like the more dynamic angle the camera gives here.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I don't like it whenever versus shows do that. I know they directly explain in that scene right after it, oh, the swords weren't sharp. But at the same time, I don't like that they do combos with slashes without any visible damage.
I mean, to be fair, did you watch the analysis on Asta's side or no?
Yes, I did. They
Yeah, the swords can't
say
actually.
he can control like what he cuts and what he doesn't with a sword.
No, that's the only one, the specific sword that he pulls out later. The initial 3 swords aren't meant to be like slashing or stabbing weapons. They're more like blunt weapons. Though they can be like actually used as like regular swords with exuberant amounts of force. But anyways, but yeah, here in this instance, Asta is not actually using them as cutting weapons. He's using them more like bludgeoning weapons.
But the sound design gives slashing sound to them.
I mean, to be fair, it would be really bad if they used like
thing
used like the berserk sword clang sound effect. It would sound so off.
Aren't swords supposed to be sharp?
I also love that. Because like Deku is like he's like the analysis type character, yeah.
Yeah.
So he should know like basic weaponry, and a sword that's not actually sharp definitely would throw him off. He just looks so flabbergasted here.
Fart.mp3.
Yeah.
Slowed by his sword's weight at all. Gotta hamper his movements and get that book out of his hands. Huh? He found me!
Also, like the little bit like that shows the little like effect here. Instead of him just widening his eyes and dodging, like
book out of his hands. Huh?
there's a little spark there to like represent the precog quirk.
Yeah.
He found me!
Oh yeah, this is the first instance of I want to bring up one of Asta's voice lines. Like his voice, while his voice is fine, when he starts to yell like Asta does, it sounds fantastic. Like this Black Meteorite shout. It's great.
Now it's my turn.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah.
It's simple, but I like the way the black tendrils move.
And my favorite part is just Asta's line after this. It's to counter like, aren't swords supposed to be sharp? Then you have Asta.
Wait! Are you not using magic?
He sounds so shook. It's
The
great.
delivery of that, like it's so good.
Yeah, it's like, and just like I love how it looks. It's animated too. Like the big sword is just making the black whips just bounce. It's like boing boing. I love it.
It's so good.
What kind of magic emperor would I be if I can't beat a guy like this? Detroit Smash!
Also, I know
Like
there's
how
not.
he takes a second. Oh.
Yeah.
I like how he takes a second to like just grab the other sword with his mouth while he's lying down.
Yeah, it's great, and like also. The Detroit Smasher doesn't have as much impact, but I think it's because of how it's set up. Because if you look at Deku's hand, he has some of the Black Whip there, which he used, and Asta blocks it. But this is what Deku is counting on, because now he attached Black Whip to the weapons and pulls them away. And this is the sword that Asta can use that determines what he wants to cut. But going on.
Yeah.
Detroit Smash! Detroit Smash!
Okay, Okay. This is something I know a lot of people are mixed on, is the unnecessary like paddle ball Deku does here with Asta.
I think it's funny.
It's like a yo-yo too, I guess. It's just like, I get why some people don't like it because it drags a little. I didn't like it at first because when I saw this was when I thought, oh no, the fight's gonna go downhill. I was proven wrong, but yeah, it's like it kind of felt a little off at first. And funnily enough, of the 4 Detroit Smashes he lets out, the one where he's holding a book in his mouth is ironically his best delivery. Like the part of his voice where it just shakes when he says "Smash," it just sounds so genuine. Like it sounds like great.
It's a really, really good delivery, yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of good scream deliveries, like, also, I love how part of Deku's face, like, gets pulled along with the book, like, how anime would do that in some instances. And speaking of good deliveries, the scream before, as the transformation happens, is great. And then we get then we this.
I don't know what Detroit is, but I've had enough of it.
That just sounds like something a lot of people would just say in general, let's be real here.
I'm ending this quick!
Oh, and the giant building comes at him. He just slices it right in half. And then we get to, I think this is my favorite line of the fight in terms of like delivery and like just general line.
Hit me with all you've got, because I'm never going down!
I love that.
That honestly sounds so badass.
I think, honestly, at this point, Asta's voice actor, we should expect that level of quality from him, because he voiced, it's Michael Kovac. He voiced Shazam previously in Captain Marvel vs. Shazam, as well as Goku Black and Goku Black vs. Reverse Flash.
Neat.
And like, also, I like how Deku doesn't just jump off the building normally. He slides down onto the side, and then kicks off of the building. It's really neatly done there. Okay, and when they clash, I like how there's cracks sent through the buildings. Like, it would have been a lot more lame if the
Hulk versus Broly.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more lamer if like the building just didn't react at all. So I'm glad they put this in. But then this leads to one of the more jarring parts of the fight. Like after the smoke happens, we don't get a transition scene. It just cuts right to Deku running on the building.
He also runs weirdly.
Yeah, the weird angle. It's kind of funny in a way, but yeah, it does look off here. But I do like this shot here. This shot here, really good. And just... I also... Yeah, the blitzing here, I love it. Like, with both of them yelling, and the red and green and bits of black splash together just seamlessly. And then another small error. I'm pretty sure Asta should have crashed into a building here, but there is no building that he crashed into.
I directly see a building he's crashing into right there.
No, it's too far back for it to be like him actually crashing into it. Like, and then you see like the shockwave and the debris like moved with him as well. They did not. They somehow forgot to put the building he crashed into there. Now you can also interpret it as him turning through the air really fast, but it's not portrayed as well. I also like how he goes for a punch here, despite normally using swords. I guess putting things on even ground. Honestly, this is something
Where'd that piece of debris come from?
I mean, to be fair, they've been like running around and like clashing and stuff like that, so it probably just came out of nowhere. I think the thing that kind of does throw me off though is just like, okay, but why was this necessary? Like, okay, cool, he did the swinging thing, and he did it funny like this and got him in the air, but all that does is just set it up for like Asta slamming into him there. It feels just like kind of unnecessary in a way.
I guess.
And then, oh yeah, Deku's getting pummeled here.
When he falls to the ground, it's like weirdly floaty. Not when he's bouncing off stuff, but specifically
yeah, like,
the last one.
Like, that's fine, but then...
Yeah, it's like weirdly floaty.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about. Oh, and
I
then
guess that's the same.
But then we get to the... Oh yeah, and with how the music lines up...
No use not going all out anymore. I just gotta hit him really hard.
I love the usage of like Asta's first line and Deku using it now. It's really neatly done.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm not gonna pause during this next segment because it's fantastic.
You wanted my best? Here it is! 1,000,000,000%! Blood Ultra!
Oh, the final clash between them, I love it. Like the lead up, like Deku getting the determination and just powering up to the absolute best he can, and the animation behind him.
You wanted my best? Here it is! 1,000,000,000%! Blood
And just like All Might there as well.
Ultra!
And then in the Asta's case, like with All Might showing up behind Deku, we have Libe's silhouette showing up behind Asta before they enter the final clash. And
I'll give you this. The lead up is pretty good.
yeah, and
I just don't like the actual clash.
yeah, we'll talk about the actual clash in a bit. Another thing I have not mentioned yet. I love how Deku here is his line.
You wanted my best? Here
It's a callback to the best finale the show
It's a
has ever
callback
done.
to All Might versus Might Guy, and I love it. There are so many callbacks to All Might versus Might Guy, and it's just I love it so much.
1,000,000,000%!
Oh yeah, speaking of vocal performances, Deku's VA does a phenomenal. This line I think is my favorite read from him.
Blood Ultra!
Asta's though, as much as I've been praising Michael Kovac's performance, I really wish he did one of Asta's more recognizable, just loud ass screams here. Because it's like instead of like Asta just screaming his lungs out, I think it would have worked more to like match Deku's performance. And then there's this, the clash. Okay, sure. Okay, why does
it look like both of them fall to the ground?
Yeah, that threw me off a lot. And then just the explosion happened, and then we get a sequence issue. So they hit the ground. But why did Asta fall from the air if the impact shows them hitting the ground?
It's weird.
Yeah, like, I checked out the storyboards because they posted them. What was supposed to happen was that the arena was supposed to be cratered at that point, which is why Asta fell, which honestly works a little better, but at the same time it doesn't. Honestly, they should have just stuck with the single hit in the air. Like, slamming them down didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think if we got, like, a really cool shot of, like, the Deku's punching down Asta, as well as Asta, like, slamming his blade down at the same time, it would have worked. But,
I did it.
And, okay. I'll talk about this part in a bit. Let's get to the death. Or, I guess, get to just...
Look at the pose he's in.
We'll talk about the pose in a bit. Now, according to one of the writers, I think Swan said this, when Deku's eyes goes white here, this is actually when he died. Asta did not actually kill him. Deku died from overworking himself with his quirk far too much.
That's not conveyed well at all.
Yeah. It's just like, when his eyes go white, you can, since this is like anime, you could like easily mistake it from like, like passing out or something like that.
Yeah.
So because of this, with what the writer says and how most people would assume, it can be conveyed in like two ways. But then going on... And then just... And yes, he is in
Guy death pose.
the Family Guy death pose. Oh, and to add insult to injury, one of the swords looks like it's shoved up his ass.
Why did you have to point that out?
Yeah, it's just insult to injury here.
Take that, Detroit.
I love that. It's such a dumb line, but it's funny.
Also, the actual very end.
Yep.
It's probably the most I've laughed at a death battle yet.
Bro was flabbergasted. Look at his face.
This also just means it canonically follows up Dan versus Hercule.
Just look at how flabbergasted Hercule is. He's just like...
If you know literally anything about Hercule, then this is beyond accurate.
And then... gone.
Again, the most I've laughed at a death battle yet.
Alright, so, okay, what should be the frame we'll leave this paused on? Because,
The scene where Deku farts a cloud.
I think that, I want to find one that has them, like, both in the scene at the same time. Okay, I think I'll go for, like, sometime after Asta enters the Demon Union.
Enough of it. Hit me with all you've got, because I'm never going down.
Still really love that delivery. Like, I think a little after... Okay, I think I'll leave it here.
There! Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, so... Okay, talking about other stuff. Let's start with the voice acting. As I mentioned, I like Asta's voice. I haven't checked out too much of the Black Clover anime, but I think it's a voice that works well for him. Ironically, I wished he had a couple of more screaming scenes for Asta, because I think he just does fantastic with his screams.
Yeah, I guess that's alright.
As for Deku's VA, Deku's voice, okay, when he's talking, like, quietly, it kind of sounds a little off, but when he's screaming, like, when he's shouting his attack names, they sound fantastic. As for other stuff, I want to talk...
The music is badass.
Oh, yeah, Strongest Alive.
Strongest Alive!
I think the song, honestly, as much as I love Hedge of Tomorrow, like, after listening a couple of times, I honestly think Strongest Alive might be my favorite track of the season.
I think my favorite track is still Hedge of Tomorrow, but, like, this is still a great track.
Oh, yeah, this is a fantastic song. Other stuff, okay, so, as I mentioned, I recently finished Black Clover, and, there are a couple of issues I kind of do have with how Asta was portrayed. I think a good friend of ours, I think a lot of people here might know them, Carbonated Gem on Twitter. She makes fantastic art. She's a huge fan of Black Clover, and she wasn't a fan of how Asta was portrayed, and she told me this before I read Black Clover, and after I did, I actually ended up having to, like, agree with her. Asta, yeah, he's the dumb shonen hero character, but at the same time, he's an expert when it comes to, like, analyzing stuff that happens in mid-combat. And a lot of his lines here, they don't really feel like Asta would say them. Like, yeah, some of the lines, like the hit me with all you've got, as well as the you're not using magic line, they fit him a lot. But the other ones...
Other lines feel like an MCU reference, effectively.
MCU reference or, like, generic shonen protagonist, like... I'm not gonna lie, like, Asta being, like, relatively serious at parts of the fight doesn't really feel like him. Like, I'm not gonna saying he can't be serious, but he wouldn't be, like, the brooding counterpart to Deku here. Like, this honestly felt like I was watching Ichigo instead of him sometimes.
It's like Asta is more the character who likes to have fun when he fights, even in serious matters.
I wouldn't really say that. It's more like he's prone to, like, freaking out mid-fight in, like, really hilarious ways. But at the same time, he's still, like, a total badass that gets the job done. It's just, like, but, like, it just doesn't feel like as much Asta as it should be.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
With that said, though, all things considered, like, while this has fallen from, like, how much I liked it initially after reading Black Clover, I'd still say this holds up as a pretty good episode, all things considered. I'm willing, honestly, I think I'd give this animation like, I want to say like 8, honestly.
I think a 7.5 for me.
Okay, so like 7.75. Yeah, like good episode, I guess, but like if you're a fan of Black Clover, this might kind of leave you a little more confused. But anyways, let's talk about that season finale, huh?
For watching.
We've gotten 3 Dragon Ball episodes this season.
And we got Vegeta, we got the son of Vegeta, and now we have half of Vegeta,
Vegeta
versus
again.
half of Vegeta.
Okay, so when it was showing that off, and I just saw Vegito, my mind had naturally assumed, oh, it's like Vegito versus Omnimon, I guess? Because that's a match I hear a lot.
Yeah, Gogeta versus
Then they showed
Omnimon.
Gogeta, I'm like, wait, no.
And yeah,
Vegeta versus Gogeta.
honestly, I know a lot of people are like not very happy at this, and I can understand why, but it's season finale. I mean, we're gonna get a fun animation out of it most likely, because Dai Tomodachi on Twitter said it's gonna be a Blender episode. With that said, I guess we can wrap things. Up.
Overall, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm
we got,
curious on how they do it.
Yeah, we also got like 3 weeks until this one for some reason.
Wait, 3 weeks?
Yeah, December 20th instead of like December 13th. Or I think I might be no.
Oh yeah, it is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's on a Tuesday. That's weird.
Anyways, with that said, I guess we'll wrap things up here. As always, I'm Sam.
And I am immortal.
And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Have a good one.